Welcome back to the Mega Floating Shelf Layout Challenge 2026. Today I'm going to attempt to install a Helix in the Mega layout. A few weeks ago I did a desktop test and it worked pretty well, but as I learned with the reversing loops, these tests don't always translate verbatim to the real world. These full-scale tests that I'm doing in the garage in January are really just designed to ask a few basic questions. Can I even get an oval that big up and running? How feasible are reversing loops? And can I build extensions big enough to get big bullet trains turned around? And the final big question before I go deeper into layout design is, do I want to go double decker or not? This is a huge question and it's one that I need to answer soon because it's really going to inform every decision I make moving forward. So today I want to get a Helix up and running and I want to test double-decker train operations and just see how it feels, see if I like it. But first I got to fix a floating shelf design flaw. Because I already tested out a proof of concept on my desk, the Helix actually went in pretty easily. And I just converted the upper reversing loop to a Helix. I didn't waste any time loading up my homebrew Class 7 ripoff with a dozen boxcars. But like I said, desktop prototypes rarely translate verbatim to real-world experience. Epic fail. So is it voltage? Is it traction? Is it motor power? Is it just number of cars? So I started stripping boxcars off one by one. And I finally had a successful Helix climb with 6 boxcars. My gut instinct is that I've just outgrown these Kato pocket line motors, and maybe I just need to invest in a more heavy-duty locomotive with better climbing and pulling power. 0 issues on the descent. The Helix actually works fine. And I still need to stabilize the supports and get them all lined up and cleaned up and attach the rails. Maybe I'll tape the rails to the supports and tape the supports to the base for now. So not a total failure, but I need to figure out locomotive power. On a side note, the reversing loops have been working great. I've been testing them a lot with small trains, big trains, slow speed, fast speed. I've got the reversing loops pretty dialed in and they're working like 99.9% of the time. So I'm now pretty confident in that tech and I have no concerns about using reversing loops in the final layout. I wanted to clean up and straighten up the Helix and then do another test and see if that helps at all. So I got everything all really square and straight and clean and did another boxcar test and was able to increase my load from 6 to 8 just by cleaning up things a bit. I still want to be able to run much longer loads up the Helix. If I'm going to have this double decker, I want to be able to run long trains. So it doesn't totally solve my problem. The long trains have no issues climbing the straight grades that are farther down the layout. Only the Helix. So I did some research and found out that the curvature of the Helix actually increases the perceived grade on the locomotive, and it's kind of a significant amount. So I think that's what's going on. And now it's time to test the bullet train. I did have a couple failed tests with the bullet train, but it's because there was too much wobble in the Helix. I was able to clean and straighten some of that out, but I think if I were going to do a Helix in my final design, I would iterate on these Helix supports and probably double the thickness of everything and even do some like bridge work between the vertical supports just to make this thing rock solid because it's a little wobbly for these heavier bullet trains. But I was able to get it working with this prototype, and it is pretty cool to watch these trains running full length, double decker. I still need to build another reversing loop at the far end of the upper deck. Right now, the track just kind of ends up there, because that's not a trivial project, building out those extensions and getting the reversing loops all set up. But on a side note, I did get DCC decoders installed for these lights. So now I have proper headlights and taillights again, and I can turn them on and off with my phone throttle. So that's pretty cool. I think I can even adjust the dimness, the brightness of them. So it's a bit of an investment, but I think it really adds to the visual appeal of these bullet trains. I still need to figure out how to do that with my non-DCC friendly Taiwanese bullet train, but for this Shinkansen, it was just a drop-in, super easy. I had kind of an epiphany when I was researching locomotives that are better at pulling. What if I did a consist of two Kato pocket line locomotives and speed match them? So I might try that. I think it would be a fun experiment, and I might reinforce the Helix supports and build out that extension on the upper deck. But I am hoping to wrap up this phase of the project by the end of the month.